Two guys, one review, one review. The decline of modern cinema. Introduced by Two Guys, One Review. We got Tony.
What's up?
And we got Mo, our guest.
Yo, yo.
Hopping in to go over a few chapters, which we're going to keep nice and quick, hopefully. Messaging and remembrance. Tony, hop in.
I mean, like I said, cinema today is just like obviously a decline compared to what it's been in the past. People oftentimes go into a movie not as hyped up and they walk away dissatisfied. As far as messaging and remembrance, there's a lot of times where I watch movies nowadays when I'm like actually a little bit enthused by them, and it's I don't remember them. People ask me, "What'd you like about it? What did you dislike about it?" And I just don't care. A month goes by and I really don't remember really anything about the movie at all, other than I've walked away with a bad taste in my mouth. So, harder to remember movies. I think it's because they're not as good, obviously.
Let me ask you guys and the viewers this. When was the last time you spoke about a movie, and when was that movie recorded? Every time I talk to anybody from like an older generation or even millennials in general, they'll bring up the OG sequels. And that's one thing we're going to touch base up on, probably in about 10 minutes or so. But the older ones, and why are the older ones so memorable? Just ask yourself that, watch them, and then figure it out. We don't even have to get into depth. We know why they're better. But that's the whole point. I have somebody that's an OG here. He's an older fellow. Tell me the last movie that you actually watched that was actually memorable that you could talk about 24/7 all day.
I'd start off with there's good movies and there's great movies. Right now, there's like good movies. There's more good movies. It's just a bunch of movies. And people just want to speed through stories. They don't want to take the time to make the story the right way. For instance, if we want to talk about old school movie, a movie that I will never forget for the rest of my life from how good it was, for instance, the movie Heat with Robert De Niro, Al Pacino.
But why?
The action in it, the storyline, the depth that they took. They took a movie nowadays, they would have made like an hour long and totally suckbagged it to a 3.5 hour masterpiece of non-stop action.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't care about identity politics. They didn't care about this girl is powerful, this guy's powerful, who's more powerful than who, all that. There's nothing about that. It's simple. It's a story about bank robbers and what happens to them eventually, or just the whole runaround of an entire storyline based on a story that is more realistic, and it's a fun story to watch. The way it unfolds. 3 hours of action. I couldn't even imagine a movie nowadays that would live up to that, honestly.
See, he just proved my point. When you ask somebody to talk about a movie, they're going to bring up a movie that really hit. Really out of the park. Yeah. Home run type shit. Insane. But instead of going over the field, it went to Mars, because you can really delve deep into the creation of that cinematic beauty. Now let's talk about modern day movies. Quick, sludge. Trailer says way too much. We're going to get into that too, but it's just no remembrance. No one cares. You go to the movie and you leave disappointed. Back in the day, you used to really be excited when a movie came out. Oh, Spider-Man 2, let's go. Now you watch Thor: Love and Thunder, tanks at box office because it's trash. Trash. And I'm not going to say that Taika Waititi isn't a bad director. Yeah, lack of storytelling.
But they're speeding way quick through these things, because number one, there's that issue that we talked about last time about them not paying these people that do these special effects. So you don't need to do so much special effects. Make it real. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to make certain scenes look more real, even if it's Thor.
All right, but let's go into CGI. We watched, She-Hulk the other day.
Yeah.
They had a CGI Jeep driving through the woods. You're going to tell me that with the budget you have, you can't buy a pre-owned or rent a pre-owned? Like, what? Rent a Jeep. Put a stunt double in there if you have to. But drive down the road and get a real Jeep. The Jeep is CGI. We have Jeeps in today's reality. I get it if she was riding a fucking Pegasus with 4 heads spitting fire, but we're talking about a Jeep. A Jeep. So CGI is going way too far. I'm going to give you a prime example of a show that I've watched 15 times, and everybody that knows me knows this. The Sopranos. Look at the Sopranos budget and the amount of people that it touched and actually remember the show for what it is. It's a pop culture icon at this point. And then ask anybody about a modern TV show. There's so many TV shows, there's so many this, so many that, but I bet you any money the one they'll bring up is probably Game of Thrones or something else that was hype at the time. It was all hype. Yeah. Sopranos came out, boom, everybody talked about it. in the last episode, not even going to get into it because I don't want to get into spoils, but there you go.
I remember.
Yeah.
I was there when The Sopranos first came out. They didn't need hype. It was just a really freaking good show.
With good
and
acting.
everyone, No, and the funny thing,
No CGI.
everyone got on it, not in season 7, season 1.
Yeah, the
everyone
pilot.
knew about it by season 1.
'Cause the pilot
it was
brought them
so
in.
Good.
Breaking Bad, things like that. The old shows.
Yeah,
you know,
Breaking
yeah,
Bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think people mostly
Breaking
remember,
Bad's a great show, too.
Isn't Game of Thrones people mostly remember that for how bad it was? Like that, the ending was
end-
so
ending
bad.
was bad.
People remember it more
and
for
everyone
that.
started
yeah,
following it by season 5.
But it's because he
Yeah,
never
yeah.
finished the book. That's why.
It was like
The
hype
book was
at the
never
time.
finished, so I think they just hopped into it, from my understanding. But
Like a
I
spin-off.
followed Game of Thrones for a while.
Yeah.
Then, obviously, the last episode, but we have the good memories. Game of Thrones is another one that real fans, obviously that are disappointed with the ending, like me, can get back into and have that nostalgia. But then you have the people that don't want to watch it because they heard of the last episode. There's so many episodes they'll bring you in, but that's all it takes. It's a hit or miss. It's a 50-50. Obviously, the audience probably outweighs the people that didn't watch it. But let's go into a modern day show.
'Cause-
Obi-Wan. There you go. Obi-Wan. Prime example of just sludge. You had $1 billion, literally, oh my God, it was like winning the lottery if you would have performed with that. Show Vader destroying Jedi. Show Obi-Wan training to go against that brute force of nature. Show the mental fortitude that Obi-Wan had to, acquire as a Jedi. The hate that Vader has. Everybody likes Princess Leia, they do. But no one wants to see baby Leia. No one does. It's for Obi-Wan and Vader, and the bait and switch is there. It's always there. And then let's get into the identity politics point of thing. All right? Because it's the elephant in the room. Reva. Reva was not written properly. There's an actress that was hired based off her identity. I'm not going to sit here and say that, I don't fuck with it. I can't really say that. My dad's black, so it's just, it just doesn't make any sense. But you could have just incorporated an actual canon character in there and shown that same fiery emotion. But no, we fall into the ball pit that we usually fall into with modern day cinema, and you have a guy like Kylo Ren. Look at him. You ever play Battlefront with him? He destroys anybody. But then you watch the movie, and he's a little boy. He's an idiot. Trained by Luke Skywalker, one of the most respected Jedi in the universe. But falls short. A lot of things fall short. And that's why we get into the lack of storytelling and the lack of creativity.
Kylo Ren, how many times have we talked about Kylo Ren and that whole saga? They had the correct, I loved Rey, I loved every single aspect of that, but the storytelling was absolute ass. They weren't understanding. They kept changing the story through the movies. They weren't even following what was the original, from the first to the second to the third. They kept changing everything. And that's thanks to, obviously, Kathleen Kennedy, who's an absolute nightmare and does not know how to do Star Wars, honestly, in my opinion.
I think it's just, we live in a day and time where we're just too distracted. We are. You can go on anything and get an instant dopamine release. You go on Instagram, you go on TikTok, you do all these things. How many people do you know that actually put in legitimate 100% work and effort into being the most badass version of themselves?
Yeah.
And then if you get a gold mine, give me the gold mine. If Disney's watching this right now, give me the opportunity to make a Darth Vader movie. And let me hire 3 hardcore fans and, put us in a room for 2 hours and we'll come up with something insane. That's how it goes. Now, if you hire somebody that has no experience of Star Wars or that's just trying to get a message out there, it's not going to bring in revenue. And we've seen this happen countless times. Top Gun exploded at box office. All right? Thor: Love and Thunder, from the trailer, everybody already knew it was going to be shit. Let's be real. Screaming goats, Thor's butt, and all these little jokes when he's going up against the God Butcher.
Yeah.
It's like making a woke God of War TV show today. So those things you got to look into. So not really much excitement. We could all say that. And I guess Tony wanted to touch on acting. I don't know what his point of view is there, but what about acting?
I mean, I think acting, as it's in the modern cinema anyway, is clearly taking a fall. Not to say there's not great actors in certain movies, and obviously they do the awards every year for people that do well. But I think overall, I think there's a lack of better acting these days. There's so many times where I'm watching a TV show, a movie, or something, and it's all I can think the whole time is like, I know I'm watching the TV show, I know I'm watching a movie, I'm waiting kind of waiting for it to end, honestly, or I just stopped watching the series in general because I can't even focus on the storyline. I can't focus on the writing at all, even if it's good or bad. If the acting is just like not good, because how are you gonna get past that? That's basically all you're seeing. I think there's a lot of examples of that. It's what we're talking about the whole time. Is everyone's just taking shortcuts now because it's easier. You can still profit making a movie with no good acting, no storytelling. You just throw a bunch of CGI into it, and you can still make tons of money. I'm sure, even if it's bad, even if it gets bad reviews, as long as you get people streaming it, people at the box office. So that's basically was my lone point on acting there. But again, it just touches on how everything is. Everyone's just taking shortcuts, realistically.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely hard to find an ideal candidate to be into, just to qualify for a motion picture in general, because that protagonist has to touch the hearts of the viewers, obviously. You have to have that story arc that really brings you in, that makes you pay attention to every single detail, their body language, how they look at things, how they react to things. And you can do that in a negative and a positive way for sure. You want a negative protagonist, show the anger, show the motivation, show what he does when he's in that state, but make us connect with him. Now you want something positive, show us somebody that struggles and goes through the same thing, but in a positive manner. They do it with their head on their shoulders, and they're not destroying. They're not keen on destruction. They're keen on saving the world and the greater good. And no matter what happens, they stay like that.
No, all it is nowadays is what? It's about that certain person and the persecution that either the girl goes through or this person.
The girl goes through nothing nowadays.
But that's the thing.
Look at
but
Ray.
That's all they want to do.
Nothing.
But that's all
She-Hulk.
they want to do.
Nothing.
But that's what I mean. That's all they want to do. All they want to do is make these fake struggles for people,
Yeah.
but they don't do it in the right way, the right context. Like back in the day, they did the first Iron Man movie. Like, is that not enough of a freaking movie to show a real origin of a person, of the real shit he went through, bro? Like that. Like when I rewatched it the other day, he really went through shit.
Yeah.
They tortured the shit out of him. They did it's like they don't show that anymore. It's like this person has this little arc, and all it is, his arc is about his identity. It's never about him getting his ass beat repeatedly till he friggin' overcame the ass beating. No.
They kind of just introduce the problem without really the background or really explaining it. Kind of, I get that. I get that for sure.
Why do you think Captain Marvel was so bad? The character as a whole doesn't matter. You can listen.
Yeah.
You can gender swap a character. Okay? You can even race swap a character. But give that character something to have people to at least admire. Race swap them, gender swap them, but give them an arc that brings the narrative, that brings the people in. It's not the gender swapping or all those things people care about. It's the narrative. It's the writing. It's how the person gets through hell and back. Okay, Captain Marvel was bad because she was always good at everything, never got punched through 16 buildings, didn't get picked up, punched to the moon, back, got destroyed by somebody that was stronger than her, and had to learn how to hone in her ability and be better. Travel from planet to planet and learn different, means of martial arts. Something like that. Be crazy. But no, you get the power, you beat somebody up, they're done, goodbye. That's it. Give them something to deal with. She-Hulk is a prime example. Abomination should have broke out and literally fought her at least. And then Hulk teaches her how to be a hero.
Yeah.
Because she knocks him out and can't control her power and almost let's say, kills him. Something like that. And he has to teach her that being a Hulk is a lot of responsibility. Or pair her up with Captain Marvel if you don't want a man helping her. But Captain Marvel would get the chance to, hone in her ability and have people liking the character. I mean, it's kind of far gone at this point. It's a meme. People just want to keep talking all day about how trash Brie Larson was, but Brie Larson's been in good movies.
Pretty minimal fighting throughout the first 2 episodes of Hulk, but it was again, they're doing it from. They took a comedic standpoint on the show, which I think is also just largely a mistake. Even it's fine how every Marvel movie has some comedy in it, but it's the same thing you touched on with Thor too. It's just when that overwhelms it, it kind of takes away from what the product is.
Bro, watch scenes of the girls fighting in Banshee, the TV show I've been raving about.
Yeah.
They fight, they bleed, they lose teeth, and they keep going, and that's why you love those characters. There's nothing wrong with a strong female character at all because female are supposed to embrace strength. They give birth, and they have to, raise the children and do whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, nowadays, obviously, you could get into anyone can give birth now. Okay, let's put it that way. But still, the person giving birth has to work their ass off. Okay, you have to come home, feed a baby, wake up when it cries, change the diapers, and be strong. That's not an easy task at all.
No.
You have people crumbling with puppies, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
So show the strength of the woman. Obviously, people know that men are a little bit stronger. They are. And, you might have a woman like Ronda Rousey that can beat the shit out of a, a guy like you.
Yeah.
Or a guy like fucking Brennan.
Right.
But show realism. Show these characters struggling. Rey from Star Wars, prime example. Didn't struggle, was better than Luke at fucking lightsabers. Or laser swords, if you want to call it that. But that's it, the struggle. After you show the struggle, and them overcoming the struggle, people are going to be attracted to the narrative.
Right. I mean, they're almost making like a mockery of the whole woman as a protagonist type thing because they're taking a comedic standpoint on it.
Yeah, and that's why no one wants to follow it. That's why everybody has negative
Yeah.
aspects on it, and then that's why there's only a certain group of designated viewers that actually defend the show. But everybody could defend it, and if not everybody, then at least grand majority, but there is no majority. The majority at this point hate it. Or just watch it to cringe. Or to make fun of it. Or to make memes or to post videos like we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Let's be real. But I guess that's our touch on the decline of modern cinema. I think remakes is a big one. Or, what we were talking about. Yeah, stop remaking things.
Amount of
Let the greats die. Let them rest in peace.
Okay, Top Gun Maverick, that's fine. You
That's a
waited
sequel,
25 years. You want to do a sequel on that storyline. That's awesome. It works. Even the Mission Impossible movies. I am fine with something like that. Something of that magnitude where you can keep on it. Like all the 007s. I don't mind them. That's fine. Keep doing 007s.
that's
It's
a good
okay. You know what I mean? But make sure you keep bringing actors that are really 007.
Yeah.
James Bond. Not Jane Bond. James Bond. That's who the character is. It's a British man. There's nothing wrong with that.
It's an original
why
idea.
do we need to keep changing things and having to make a woman be that same
Doctor
exact
Who, the
person?
same thing.
Well, they're doing that with what's his name? They're gonna ruin what do you call it? Indiana Jones. Now
No,
they
I
wanna
know.
do his
I
daughter.
saw that.
And they're doing the
gonna
same
do
thing with
a-
Robin
And they're
Hood.
doing the same. And
Yeah.
they're doing the same thing with with what's it called Bad Boys. You know that. That's how it ended. It ended
It
with
doesn't
the son
work.
taking over. Like
Look
why?
at watch the
For what?
Ghostbusters remake, the female one. Let me know if that's funny. It isn't. You're destroying original
Yes.
ideas just by gender swapping. Come up with an
They-
original idea.
They remade
Yeah.
the original Ghostbusters.
There's-
Yeah, you
True,
can't
yeah.
rewrite a woman that hunts for ghosts that isn't Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
had a great idea right there. The
Yeah.
paranormal women or some shit. I don't know.
So,
Like you could do that. Make a movie about 3 girls that go to haunted houses to, I guess, cleanse the house of a female angry ghost. That'd be cool. Add a little touch of horror, or even an angry man, whatever, a ghost. Have them going into a haunted house and using their wits and all 3 of their combined abilities to overcome the force, the force of nature. That's it. Sit in a room with 3 girls and just make it up. There you go. And put it, make a trailer, and email it to us, and we'll see if it's dope. But you could do that. You could do that with anything.
yeah.
Literally, just all you have to do is be creative. Go on a
Yeah.
getaway. Leave your phone in your fucking
Creative.
in your house, your
Lack
car.
of creativity. That's all it is right now.
Lock it in a
Very
box.
bad amount of creativity in the world.
Yeah.
With a timer lock on it.
Yeah.
Put the lock on for 2 hours. No TikTok for 2 hours. Let me think of this show. Let me think of this movie.
Yeah.
I guarantee great things are gonna happen. But what do you want to do? You want to wrap up and then continue up ahead?
Yeah. So we'll wrap it up here and continue in the second part.
All right, guys. Any subscribe would be amazing. Leave a comment if you want us
Thumbs
to get
up,
into
thumb down.
a topic of conversation. We're just gonna sit in the room and record the audios for now until we start making something. But let us know what you think. It's our first video, so we'd appreciate the love, and we look forward to making more.